it's me, Skill God, 720, the Epic, and you are probably wondering why I'm in Photoshop right now. Well, you probably read the title. Anyway, point being, the gameplay got corrupted. It's all garbage. I will instead do this. So, if you know me, or you've played against me, chances are you've played against me, you'll notice I'm a bit of a prick. Now, that's something that comes naturally to some, or it's an acquired taste for others. I like to think I was born with it, but that doesn't mean you can't also be as dauntless as I am. So I'm going to go over the basics, if I remember how this tablet works. Okay, so we got beforehand. We got during. And we got post. And my personal favorite, the post. Steam comments. Who fucking cares? Let's get into it. Epic. Alright. So, beforehand. The trick is to not be tense when you get into the game. If your muscles... Yeah, look at that muscle. Ooh, okay, that looks... Yeah, look at that muscle. That's an arm. So, if your muscles are tense, you're going to find yourself making more rigid movements with your mouse, which is going to lead to bad gameplay, which in the long run will make you tilted. That's a no-no. So, the trick is to never go into the game in a bad mood. If you go into Dead by Daylight in a bad mood hoping to cheer up, you are sadly mistaken. So, do some stretches in your arms. Make sure you're all loosened. Don't be tense. Smoke a cigarette if that's your deal. I don't smoke. Just loosen up. Do not be mad when you play. So, that's pre-game. When you're getting into a lobby, you need to think about what your plan is. Are you going to play a good killer, like, say, Michael Myers? Grr, look at him. Who has just recently been fixed, so his stock is back in working order? Or are you going to play the shitty killer, like Clown? Look at him. Dude is not fit. He will get trampled. So, it's all about what your plan is. When you play a killer like Michael Myers, you have an easy setback environment. Your job is to just stare at people. Give him an ear. Your job is to just stare at people. Get your power and stab. You get a one hit down. Your job is simple. It's self-explanatory. You play the Clown. You have nothing going for you. You have like a slow for loops. That's about it. You are going to find yourself getting outplayed a lot, which can in turn become frustrating. So, my personal route is the Doctor. Your playstyle as Shocky Electric Man, I'm not going to bother drawing him. You cancel loops, you find people, it's fun, like it's relaxing. I play the Doctor to relax after a hard day. And because I'm confident in my ability, I can sometimes play while I'm angry and instead swap my mood around. That's Russian roulette of Dead by Daylight. You can play while in a bad mood. It's just it's suggested not to. So, let's get into during the game. So, due to the bad ranking of Dead by Daylight, you would come across a certain group of people, such as the funny little Nia, who's blood splattered and has a flashlight. So, what you can see here is your rank. Say you're rank 8. You're having fun, you're vibing, you're playing killer. You are, say you did go through with Michael Myers. So, there's 8 other people just vibing. What you don't know, that's 4. So they're vibing. That's an arm. No, it's not. So you're vibing over here, staring at them. And you see they're all holding flashlights. I count lobby as in-game because it's where the first course of action takes place. So you see this is going to be a rough match. So there are multiple things you can do against survivors like this. You can leave. You can't lose a round if you weren't in it. That's all there is to it. There is no shame in leaving a match that is obviously going to be unfun for you because it never started. If you got into the game and decided to disconnect, that's a little shameful. You already signed up for the job, whatever. I mean, I'm not going to tell you not to disconnect. It's just, you already committed, why not? Just take the L. Because if you leave that, your rank suffers. You are now a rank 9 killer. Counterplay. A word I love to death. I'm using this as an example because one of my favorite counterplay perks is Lightborn, which gives you resistances against flashlight. I think it's 80 and 60. So all 4 of these flashlights will be rendered completely useless, leading to them making bad plays, such as them trying to make flashlight rescues. And I say that because usually if a survivor is going to be downed and knows they're going to be saved, they will die near a pallet. That's safe. Now, if they know they're going to get a flashlight save, they will be out in the open, near trees, rocks, other geometry that you just can't really make use of as a survivor. If they do that, you know there's someone nearby with a flashlight. So, with that, they're counterplayed. You pick them up out in the open. One of these 3 people come out of nowhere with a flashlight. They can't get the blind off. You're too resistant to it. So, you counterplayed them. You get the free hook and potentially a free hit. This will also lead people who used pallets to stay at the pallets and try for a free blind, which will buy you time to break the pallet and run them down. At the start, they won't understand. Not enough people use this perk. So these people are going to need a second to realize what's going on. It'll definitely buy you some free hits. And lastly, there is losing. One of your options is sadly not a choice, more as an action. You can lose, which leads to post-game. So, there's 2 options. There's winning, there's losing. Obviously, you want to win. Losing is sad, but it is something that happens from time to time, especially if you're not good. I say that in the kindest way. So, say you're out of the game, you look, and it's like rank 2, rank 3, rank 1, smiley face, and a rank another 2. And here you are, you're rank 8, freshly 9, possibly, potentially, and you're just seeing all across the board unfun perks. So, here's where the devious nature of all this comes into play. Your option upon seeing all this is either going to be a win in your book or losing in your book. Now, let's say they hatch teched and someone got out and everyone else is just sad. Those are skulls. And you are Stab Man. So, the post-game chat, which is only available to PC players, is a blessing in my book. So, you wipe the floor with all these low ranks, and you're sitting here at your perch. I guess in this case you would be rank 8 anyway. So, you're having fun, you completed your game, and someone tries to sour your mood. Tunneler. Uncalled for. You'll notice that all of them had DS. And you didn't get hit by it once. But you were a tunneler. So, upon seeing a bold claim not backed up with any evidence, you are free to do what I call clowning. So, the tunneler guy's mad. You haven't responded in 0.5 seconds, so his buddies come to his aid. You suck. That's just the tip of the iceberg. So, your options are to play along, ignore, or play dumb. Now, I have done every single one of these options. The best results are to play dumb. That can bend somebody else's sour mood into your good mood. It's all about mental gymnastics. So to play along, I would say something like, yeah, you do. You do the no use strat. And the no use strat is very childish. But that's what the post-game chat is. Post-game chat is mostly utilized by children if it says anything more than GG. Very rarely will you be complimented for playing a killer. You will be called garbage quite often. You get used to it. So, you said, yeah, you do. Now this guy's fuming, because he will write you an entire paragraph about why you are garbage. And then you could just say something like, okay, I didn't read that. Rendering this entire paragraph, this graphic novel he just pasted into this chat full of emojis and pog spam. That's trash. You didn't read it. You can read it and just say you didn't read it. And deep down, that will piss him off. It shows you do not take him seriously. You are bending his bad mood into a joke, which is where the term clowning comes in. You are clowning on this survivor. He's mad. You're cracking a smile, all because you said, yeah, you do, and okay, I didn't read that. And this is just an example. It could happen exactly like this, but this is just an example. So, that's playing along. To ignore, Let me tone this down so I can write. That's still way too big. Fuck off. Alright. So, you choose to ignore this man. And one of two things will happen. He and his friends will prod you, and you can just keep ignoring it. Or eventually, if the stuff gets too juicy, you can go back to play along or play dumb. To ignore might lead to them commenting on your profile, which is rather nice. They're going to be mad, they're going to be on your profile, you can memorialize that, unless they delete it. I've had people delete comments that they have spent ages slaving over just to write, and I would just say something along the lines of, "Why did you lose though?" Bam. Completely invalidating everything they do, everything they did, and everything they said. They will either keep it there because they are shameless, or they will delete it. So, that's ignore. You can also comment on the profile or ignore it. I like to prod a little more. Post chat is delicious. Eraser. So, next is to play dumb. To play dumb is an art. You have to really let them know that you honestly just don't understand what's going on. It's more of a guise, really. Very rarely will they fall for it, but when they do, it's amazing. So, here we are. Tunneler, you suck. Hey. There's no tunnels in DBD. So, this guy's already frustrated. And for you to just take what he said and put emphasis on it, like, oh, there's no train tunnels here. This is a bathtub. Like, nah, he will take offense to you just clowning on him instantly. Play along leads to clowning. Playing dumb is instantaneous clowning. So, he'll say something along the lines of, okay, this guy's a tard. So, to an extent, pretending to be stupid is, in the long run, just being unironically stupid. And there is no problem with that. So, this is my favorite option. I sometimes mix these together and create one big, delicious cake. I rarely ignore unless I'm just bored of the survivor. You know, there is such thing as being bored of these people. So, before I get to post game, I should clear up some stuff here with some preface to this entire thing. Should start with that. So, Dead by Daylight. When you think of Dead by Daylight, do you think of people? No, you shouldn't. Survivors. Killers. Both are people. I say it like this because these people have no respect. Streamers, YouTubers, and just ordinary players. one thing in common is they very rarely respect the opposite player. And oddly enough, I play both sides. I am a rank 1 killer and a rank 1 survivor. So I feel confident in saying that both sides do not have any respect for each other. That is why I do not think of Dead by Daylight players as people, more as pieces. Dead by Daylight is a puzzle. The puzzle consists of 5 parts. One through 4 is survivors. 5 is a killer. So, since this is one big disrespectful puzzle, I like to consider it more of like a board game. Like Sorry. Everybody is out to get each other, and vice versa. It's a matter of who does it first. So, toxicity is not a trait defined by a single player. To an extent, every player has been toxic at one point in their life, and they will continue to be toxic at random intervals. Some people are just more consistent, like me. A little known fact is being toxic leads to having fun. Survivors can be toxic. Killers can be toxic. It's all one giant toxic game. Dead by Daylight, in and itself, is a toxic game, full of toxic players. The reason for that is being toxic leads to everyone having fun, whether you want to believe it or not. The only time people have an issue with being toxic is when they find someone more toxic than them. Say that Nia from earlier, they're in a 4-man survive with friends. They got flashlights, maps, and keys. So, one of them brings object of obsession and is just eyeballing me the entire game. This, matched with teabagging and all the other shit, can be considered toxic by some. I've grown used to this stuff. I consider it a normal part of gameplay. So, to them, they think they're being sneaky and funny. Now, I'm a killer with Pop Goes the Weasel, Noed, Discordance, and some random perk. Let's say I used Franklin's. So, this can be considered toxic. Even without Noed, this can be considered toxic, because I'm using a perk that's considered good, and I'm using a perk that's considered annoying. Now, say I'm playing someone like Doc, that adds to it. Playing any known survivor isn't considered toxic. You could play Yui, you could play Nia, you could play Dwight. It all lands on your perks and items and your behavior. Now, that's different for killer. A killer's toxicity can depend on their killer of choice. I choose Doctor, which is known by the community to be a very annoying killer to deal with, which in turn, without any effort, makes me somewhat toxic to at least a good chunk of players. So this, matched with this, I can be considered toxic. So, just like with survivors, and just like with killers, both sides are toxic to an extent. There is no such thing as making a survivor or a killer happy permanently. There will always be something that pisses them off. You need to understand this to understand toxicity, which in turn makes the word toxic in quotes. So, some survivors try to find joy in doing things such as trying funny perks, such as stakeout, autodidact, and all that. That's how they find fun, but in the long run they'll always come back to using perks that are considered powerful, and in turn, toxic. Killers can try other perks, such as Beast of Prey, but will always come back to certain perks, such as Pop Goes the Weasel or Noed. At this point, we can't consider them crutches. I wouldn't consider a single perk crutch. Even Decisive Strike, I do not consider a crutch. Even Noed, I do not consider a crutch. The only time I consider something a crutch is if it's a bug or an exploit. Or the Spirit. I consider the Spirit a crutch. I'm going to say it. Spirit players do not deserve respect. So, with that little interlude, I thought I would give some backstory on what I think is toxic. Clicking flashlights, there's no beneficial value to clicking a flashlight without just trying to get a killer's attention. It can also be used as an annoying, callback like, hey, you missed me, click, click. Now that is inherently toxic. And there is no humor behind it, which makes it not quotations toxic. That is toxic. Now, for a killer, there is no benefit for, say, hitting a survivor on hook. You get no benefit, they're already on the hook. That is inherently toxic. Now, I will talk about tunneling. And camping. You hear it a lot, you get it a lot, all because of how you play. So, there is a perk in the Shrine of Secrets, in the game called Decisive Strike. We're going to draw a little hand there, a piece of glass. That perk, at rank 3, lasts for 60 seconds. For that 60 seconds, you can slug, you can kill, do a little skull and crossbones, or you can pick up. Obviously, ignoring is an option, which is what you should do. But there are some limitations to what I can stand. So, say we unhook a guy, we being the survivor, and you didn't even get a chance to leave the hook yet. And the dude who unhooked him, does not have borrowed time unlocked and on their character. Now, it is the survivor's fault for unhooking them. They did just farm them. But say that survivor has borrowed time. I'm slurring. Say the survivor has Decisive Strike. Despite the fact they have it, it is never safe to rely on Decisive Strike. Your course of action, if I am coming from this way, is to run away from me. Now, if instead they run towards me from off hook, I'm going to know they have Decisive or borrowed time. And your course of action is to, if you don't know if they have borrowed time, either wait 15 seconds and hit them, or smack them anyway. The deal with that is, it's not tunneling if they run directly at you. I'm going to say it. Once a survivor makes up their mind and they want to play bold and run at you, then that's their choice. If they get hit, that's between them and God. So that's where the 60 seconds comes into play. You can either let them just run by you. You can kill them if you have a Mori and they forgot about it. You can slug, or you can pick up. So, it all depends on the amount of generators, on what you want to do here. So, say there's 5 gens. They haven't touched a single one, and someone's already off hook with DS. So what you would want to do is pick them up. You pick them up, they ran at you, that's their choice. They signed up for this. You pick them up, and they'll either hit their DS, or they won't. Once they miss DS, the perk is deactivated for the entire trial. Then it's either they hit it or they don't. If they hit it, you're still technically a tunneler. If they don't, you're still technically a tunneler, but you get a hook. A survivor doesn't understand that when you get unhooked, the best course of action is to leave a killer. It's still a killer. And depending on how they play the game, you will get downed again. Do I consider tunneling when they run at you? No, it is not tunneling. The reason I say to pick them up when there's 5 gens, you have all the time in the world. Getting rid of DS early is one of the best things you can do, especially if endgame collapse comes up and you need to quickly kill somebody. So, say there's 2 gens left, or even 1 gen left, it doesn't matter. What you would want to do is slug, or kill. You never want to ignore or pick up. To get DS'd when you're already lacking pressure as it is, that could lead to you losing the game in the long run. Waiting out DS is what could get you a kill, and in turn pressure for your match. Now, camping. Camping is a little harder to justify, but let's go back to the generator thing. So, there is 1 gen left in the match, and you down somebody. Damn. Alright, they're on a hook. And this is you. You're the killer. So, you're about to walk away from the hook, la-di-da, and just as you're about to, ka-cling, the gen pops. So, what justifies camping in this sense is that what are you going to do? A killer's job during the match is to find survivors and patrol generators. So when all generators are fixed, and you already have a survivor right there, there is no need to patrol gens. There's no gens. You've found a survivor already. He's on a hook. So what could happen is borrowed time can fuck you up, or all of their friends have to sit and watch while you secure a kill, which will piss them off because none of them brought borrowed time, or they're all injured and they can't take a hit. They will take the time to heal up, and even then there's still no guarantee they will get the unhook. You might even score a grab and 2 hooks by the end of the game. This I would not consider full-on camping. The reason for that is there was nothing left to do. There's no reason or motivation or sentiment to just actually leaving the hook. You can stay there till your little heart desires. This will, in fact, peeve off survivors and lead to them calling you a camper, which it is okay. You can be labeled as whatever you want. At the end of the day, if you had fun and you're enjoying your game, then this doesn't matter. Remember, Dead by Daylight is a game, and it should only be treated as such. The second you start caring about what these people think, you've lost. You could get a 0k, 1k, 2k, 3k, 4k. The second you're in a bad mood because some stranger on the internet had something to say about you, you've lost. The trick to fun in Dead by Daylight is to just not care. And in that sense, it's okay to run what you want. You can Run a Mori. That's a Mori. Look at it. It's pink. Throw some color in here. Look at that. What the fuck? Ebony Mori? You can't bring that. That's not fair. You're gonna tunnel me off hook? Kill me off first hook? That's not fair. You can't do that. That's not fun. And you know what? Maybe it isn't. It's not fun. For them. There is no respect in DBD. I'm just gonna R. Just as, say, oh, look at that. That's, what is that? That's a flashlight, isn't it? What rarity is that? Wait, what you got there? What you got there, buddy? A flashlight of purple rarity? I totally just fricked that one up. That's a purple rarity flashlight in my game. You feel good bringing that? Yeah, I'm blind, but I'm not having fun. But at the end of the day, they are. Fun is measured by what you make of it. Both of these items are not fun unless you make them. Both sides are entitled to have the fun they want. Is it going to be enjoyable for all 5 players? Of course not. I don't think there's a single experience in Dead by Daylight that includes all 5 players having fun, unless it's farming. And even then, that gets boring, and it defeats the purpose of the game. Purpose of the game is to kill and survive. And how you do that depends on what you bring. So, with that, we go into the post chat. So, say you are some dude on the internet. Now, there's presentation for post background. So, your name could be something super ironic, such as Kid Mode 180 The Bad. Highly original. So, you don't have a profile picture. That's okay. It doesn't depend. Honestly, I think profile pictures delete the charm. So, you're some dude who just blew in from Awesome Town or whatever. You just caked on 4 survivors. And since you had $5 sitting around, you decided to make some of the salt enhanced. So, anime ladies with huge boobs. These are their eyes. Oh God, no. Okay. So those are eyes. So there we go. So the first thing they're gonna do is scan over your profile, and you can put a little bio that says "Gotcha." They're gonna read that and be like, "What the fuck is this guy talking about? Is he a schizo? What's his issue? Like, who did he get?" Like, they'll start overthinking everything. For me, I knew I had people looking at my profile, so I was like, did it bother you? And bam, they know that you know that they're looking at it. So you can have a bunch of crap here, anything to strike anger, your favorite pretend to be a weeb or something, throw some really overrated anime that some dude's gonna look at and be like, oh wow, this guy's a weeb. Got him. The real bread and butter is in the comments. So, yeah, that's a good comment box. Stretches right through the screen. And here we have Lily Love at Twitch TV. Oh no, you've pissed off a Twitch streamer. Their course of action is minus rep. Small. Wee. Uncalled for. So there are perks to the people you piss off. It just so happens that Lily Love was streaming. And if you pissed her off enough, she might have vocalized it on her stream. Go find the VOD, rewatch it, relish in the fact that she's mad. Turn someone else's anger into your happiness. It's awesome. So anyway, she's playing with her viewers, all just so happen to be very nasally men who donate midstream. And they all say things roughly similar to what she said. So, your course of action is to ignore, play dumb, or play along. So, say anything you want. It's all up to choice. You already know the choices based on that. So you could say something like, just watched the VOD. LOL. I'm epic. And Lily Love is petty. She's extremely petty. She's known for being petty. But she is a above average woman. So everyone overlooks the pettiness and lets it ride. What comes from that is she will continue to keep pestering you and pestering you and pestering you. And you can do what I call milking it. That's when you take playing along or playing dumb and stretch it out in such a way that they will continue to comment until eventually you hit them with something really fucking strong. So, my options are usually to play dumb until they get so flurried, so flustered, so angry that they write you a paragraph and be like, yeah, so I got you wrapped around my finger. And you could say something just so simplistic and dumb and off topic like that, and they will blow their top. They'll either stop responding, which is too late, you already gave them what you wanted, or they'll keep going at it and say, wrapped around my finger, no, I just think it's funny that yada 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 yada. And what I've noticed is they'll eventually just say, haha, I've wasted your time. And for me, that's never the case. I find enjoyment in people being mad, because my mental is a little son. Getting mad at video games and strangers is a no-no. So, I laugh at these people. Lily Love is sitting there with 20 viewers, pounding away on her keyboard, angry, and I'm sitting here with the biggest shit-eating grin on my face. That kind of looks like Sheen Estevez. Hold on. I fucked up. Looks like Bart now. Anyway, the takeaway from all of this respect. Do not respect people who disrespect you. Relish. Probably didn't spell that the right way. Relish in the anger of someone less fortunate than you. I don't mean less fortunate as in they have cancer or they're dying. Less fortunate means they lost. So, relish in that. Don't relish in like their relative dying. Be good. Don't do stuff that will lead to you purposely getting mad. If you make yourself mad, you only have yourself to blame. Don't play clown with Beast of Prey. Unless you want to be funny about it. If you're going into the game with a good mood and you intend to do dumb stuff, that's alright. But if you're trying to have a good time, don't play clown with Beast of Prey, territorial imperative, dead man switch. You're not gonna have fun. Play something like Michael, Doctor, Hillbilly. Doesn't even have to be meta characters, just something fun. Alright? Be smart. I'm saying that as in, don't be dumb. Think about your arguments, think about the argument you're taking up. If you take up a losing argument, very rarely can you recover it and turn it into a winning one on your end. That's when you ignore, play smart, or play dumb. Don't try to justify your actions. Say you were tunneling and you were camping. Do not try to justify it. Just be like, LOL, maybe, winky face. Surely there's more to it than just lol, maybe, winky face. There is such thing as just being smart. You can win arguments. You can actually just devastate people with facts and logic. And remember, have fun. There is no fun. Everything is unfun to somebody. It's up to you to realize that. Fun and toxic go hand in hand. They are barely different. They are more the same than different in terms of Dead by Daylight. Things that are considered fun are considered toxic for other people. Things that are considered toxic are considered fun by other people. They are the same. Now, do not be regular toxic. Do not click flashlights. Do not hit people on hook, unless you want to be flat out toxic. And don't take it seriously. Dead by Daylight is a video game. It's merely pixels on a screen. Fun, toxic. Fun, toxic. Do not take it seriously. These are just strangers. You will never meet them in real life unless you've already known them for a long time. That being said, don't take death threats from people seriously. Don't give death threats because that makes you look stupid. And don't get mad. The second you start taking the game seriously, you are already mad. It is not life or death. It's not even real. It is a video game. These are a few tips and tricks to keep a good mental. The second you get over some of the hoops that the game gives you, such as finding out what is fun or toxic and realizing they're the same thing, not engorging yourself in crappy arguments made up by 12-year-olds who play Laurie Strode for a living, learning not to give respect automatically to players. You should never expect to be given hatch. You should never expect to be given hooks. Now, use this and try to have a good time. Bada boom. This is Gilgon. 7/7/20. The Epic. Signing off for now.